guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about fitting into your tribe, finding your tribe, and because I'm a woman, about my experience into fitting into a female's world and how I felt about the whole thing of, finding the tribe, fitting into it, and in the end, like how I made my peace with being a woman and basically finding where I'm gonna fit in that role. Ever since I can remember, it was very difficult for me to fit in within the female tribe. It's not because I didn't want to. I did want to, but I was surrounded with men, and it seemed so much easier to be with men. My first two friends, two brothers I played with when I was 6 years old, they were my neighbors. They were the only people I was surrounded, and my first female role model that was older than me, like for 5 or 6 years, and she like supported me along the way, but she wasn't my age, so I've seen her as a role model, but not as a real friend. Like, she was everything I wanted to be when I grow up. Smart and beautiful, and I name all my dolls with her name, checked out in the morning what she was wearing, and wore similar clothes, like whatever I can find in my wardrobe. As I was growing up, I found myself in the need of more role model, not just my neighbor. I moved to another town and I started dreaming of becoming this famous singer. So I started looking up to singers like Tarja Turunen, Simone Simons, or like opera stars as Anna Netrebko. What all of them had in common is that they defied all the stereotypes of what a woman needs to be. Tarja Turunen and Simone Simons were classically trained singers, but they haven't been singing classical. They sang in a metal band. They were a part of the men's world. They were in a community that was almost entirely men at that point when they started. And they had bigger balls than, they had to have bigger balls than the guys, basically. Anna Netrebko was a classically trained singer. She was an opera singer, she still is, but she was so beautiful but rebel. I was obsessed with becoming one of them. I practiced every day and I dreamed about the career that much that I forgot to learn all the female stuff that I was, I guess, supposed to learn. Like, I didn't know how to cook or clean, and I found no interest in that. My mother claimed that I have time to learn how to do it, and I felt the same. And in the end I had, because now I know, and I started so late. I can't tell you how shocked I was the first time a woman tried to put me in my place. My place within, obviously, the cleaning and washing community, cooking and serving, keeping your mouth shut and your legs, crossed. And I didn't get it. I didn't get why they were so upset with me. I didn't get why they were mad at me. Like, why was I upsetting them so much? Like, my parents obviously didn't care how short my skirt was or what kind of makeup I was wearing. Like, I grew up by the same rules as my brother did, and I was not raised differently at all than him because of my sex. So when I entered the world of grown-ups, I didn't get it. Like, it felt like the better I was, the more women got upset with me, and they wanted to put me in my place. And that became extremely frustrating. In the end, I became so frustrated with traditional female world that I ended up joining the male community, where I was actually accepted better. Like, I didn't have to choose my words carefully, and my successes made them happy. They actually cheered for me. And I found myself finding more and more male role models and less role models in women. Like, I felt like women were dangerous, and like, that wasn't even my fault. Like, they exiled me because I didn't fit in, and they didn't want me around. It wasn't the other way around. Like, I did want them in life, but whenever I invited them, they hated me. Like, and it became so hard for me to fit within the female tribe, like, because I couldn't understand them. I couldn't get the rules. After a while, I started thinking about it, And also I moved to some of my female friends that actually did accept me, and I started talking with them. And some of them gave me this feedback that I really, really value now, and I understand what's happening in the end. So some of my female friends said, Anna, you were so strong. Like, she said to me, like, you were one of my biggest role models when we were teenagers, because you had these balls of steel. And then I realized actually what happened. Because of the way that I was raised, as I was saying, the same way that my parents raised my brother, even maybe more masculine than my brother was raised, because I had a really close connection to my dad, and he would kind of invite me more into male world than my mother invited me into female world. There was a lot of things that I didn't like about the way my mom was living her life. I loved her, but I didn't like the way she was leading her life. Like, she abandoned her career. She had a lot of amazing talents, and she was beautiful and talented, but she couldn't see any of it. And a part of that, like, frightened the shit out of me. Like, I was scared that I will end up the same as her, you know, stuck somewhere. So I went the other road. I took the other road, in which I didn't allow myself to feel scared or fragile. And I think part of that, like, was upsetting a lot of women around me. There was this other thing also where I, instead of becoming this really pacified, nice girl, I became this rebel, like, crazy, different woman than anyone else. And finding my real female tribe took a while, actually. I couldn't just find them like this. I had to look into other women that felt the same way as I did, and I had to search for them. And then finding them actually fulfilled me so much. I felt like finally I have my tribe. It is very curious. I went to the shaman, and they were looking for my totem animal, and my totem animal is a raven. And a raven is commonly misunderstood. It's a very smart bird. It's very capable of taking care of herself, very bold, and it had to be to survive. But you know, like, when you look at the people and they prefer some kinds of birds, but rarely someone's gonna tell you they like ravens or jackdaws or crows, because they're scared of them, basically. They upset them. And I find in the society, the way it is, I upset people a lot, because I dress differently, I behave differently, I do things different ways. I was always like that. I was always a person that would look for rules and then try to see if these rules have any any base in reality, and if they're necessary. And I found for a lot of rules that they don't, and I started breaking them. In that process, I always tried not to hurt anyone, and of course, maybe I did, but it wasn't intentional. So in the end, finding my tribe within women, tribe is for me a scary thing sometimes. It's when I'm meeting someone new, like I am not sure how much of myself can I put on the table straight away. Sometimes I would wait, because I wouldn't be sure that that person is gonna like me. So I'd rather spare myself of pain, of being rejected. So I just go bit by bit and see how it feels like. With men, I don't do that. Curiously enough, with men, I just go straight away in, and I can just straight away open up and show like 100% of me. But with women, unfortunately, I still can't do that. But I have some really great women in my life, and I am really, really grateful for it. And it's women of all ages. Like, really young ones to like really older ones that have been strong, independent, and but also very soft and emotional. It's what I'm hoping for myself, and it's something that I really want to be in the end. I would like to hear your stories, girls. How do you feel about finding your tribe? How do you feel like fitting into the female world? How do you feel about all of that? Do you feel like there is no middle ground? It's either that women are way too traditional and, you know, like they're letting things stand in their way, or they're very rebel and, you know, they kind of fail to be soft. And I find myself somewhere in between, and sometimes it's really hard to be accepted with having that balance, because it feels like you don't really belong on any part of that scale. I'm really curious to hear how you're all feeling about that, and what do you guys think of it. And please do, if you haven't subscribed to my channel and like the video if you like it, leave a comment underneath. I will see you. Bye.